I think I can make something work, yeah. And I think it's partly a combination of this being a faceless channel and me not doing any of the insert popular sound trends. You know how when sometimes you just scroll for like 5-10 minutes and hear the exact same thing on every video? I find that annoying at best, so I don't do it. I don't try and clickbait anyone, be it in title or thumbnail. I don't insert sound effects every time I say a sentence. I just do art, and I try and do it a little bit better each time. Sometimes, like this, I do people's requests. Sometimes I do whatever comes to my brain at the moment. But I don't try and trick people into watching it. That's not to say I don't want people to watch my videos. Of course I do. And I am hoping to get monetized. I'd be ecstatic if the Lord Algorithm and RNGesus decided,
"You, my son, you shall receive all the feed you put in."
And I suddenly got bajillions of views overnight. But I'm not going to change who I am to make that happen. I was pretty happy when I knew that one person out there had decided I was entertaining enough to keep watching. Now almost 1,000 of you have, and that is insane. Looking at numbers on screen, that might not seem like much, but that's a lot of people who have decided they want to see me keep doing this. And so I will. I'll keep trying to get better a little bit each time. Depending on how things go, I might end up making videos less frequently. You know, when I actually manage to get a job I've spent the last 4 years getting the degree for. Though that might take a while, considering you apparently need to have a master's degree and 10 years of experience for an entry-level position nowadays. No, sorry, I misspoke. An internship. An unpaid one. That was an actual job advertisement I saw. I'm not kidding, but that's besides the point. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed my artwork and maybe my ramblings. This ended up a little more heavy than I thought it was going to. Also, I have no idea why I decided to make you an employee of legally distinct burger and chicken nugget place. Alright. Between your username and the fact that Monster Hunter Wilds is coming out in just a few weeks, I pretty much knew immediately what I was going to do with this one. Which is turn it into a Palico, using the old samurai armor from Freedom Unite. However, I think this did end up in the Uncanny Valley a little bit. I'm not completely sure why, but I think if I'd have exaggerated the size of the eyes a bit, it would have helped. But whatever the cause, I hope you all still enjoy. Now then, I'm gonna keep talking about Monster Hunter because I want to. If you're not a fan of the Monster Hunter franchise or don't know what I'm talking about, feel free to tune me out. Now then, I really hope Lagiacrus actually does come back in Wilds. Even if he's not part of the initial roster and is added in later in a title update, I need to see him in next-gen Monster Hunter. I want to hunt Lagiacrus again so badly. And I mean, yeah, I could get up, walk 5 feet, and turn on the Wii and play Try, but you know what I mean. Lagiacrus isn't the only third-gen monster I am really hoping gets brought into Wilds, because I think Kurapeko would make a fantastic addition to the roster, too. Kurapeko's ability to mimic other monster calls and bring them in for support would be so cool to see get adapted and expanded upon ecologically. One more from the third gen is Gobule, because he would be perfect for what we've seen of the Scarlet Forest. Heck, he's literally from the Flooded Forest. It would make perfect sense. Going back to Freedom Unite, if we have an ice map, which we have to have an ice map, right? Blangonga and the Blangos, we have Congalala, so why would they not, you know? It's the same skeleton, very similar attacks, why would you not have the Ice Baboon? That said, the most likely returning monster to me is probably going to be Nerscylla. I'm pretty much sure that we're going to have Nerscylla in Wilds. We've got the spider skeleton with Lalabarina, and we have, of all returning monsters, Gypceros, so the fact that we have those two things is basically a smoking gun to me, because if we have Gypceros, and we have a spider skeleton that's functioning and doing spidery things, we have to have Nerscylla. Because why else would you put in Gypceros of all monsters? If any of you watching are hyped for Wilds, I'd love to hear your theories about what we're gonna get. Though, honestly, most of you probably just heard a bunch of random gibberish. I swear it makes sense if you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, I hope you like the cat despite the Uncanny Valley vibes, and I'll see you in the next one. You know what? Sure, why not? Alright, so first for the color gradient, it is a noise texture that's been mapped to use window rather than object. Window is basically you're looking into the texture rather than the texture being applied to the object. The color from that noise texture is then passed to a hue saturation node to tweak it a little bit, make it a bit more saturated and a slight adjustment on the actual color. That is put into this mix shader. Coming down here, the mix shader is a noise shader into a color ramp, and this is a driver that basically just changes the noise texture's pattern every so many frames. That is why the sparkles in the liquid change position. All of that gets plugged into this emission node, which connects to this mix shader, which also has a transparent node, and that is factored by this geometry node that uses backfacing to make it to where it's only showing the interface of what you're the back wall essentially of the object you're looking at, which is how you can see through it to see the emitter icosphere and the little pyramid thing I put in the bottom. The glow itself comes from compositing, which that's how you do glow in either Eevee or Cycles now. You go into Compositor, make sure Use node is on, you plug the base image into a glare node. One of them, I have two here, one of them is set to bloom, which is what gets the soft glow around everything that's bright. And then the other one is symbol star, which is where the little star sparkles come from. The world itself also has another shader on it, rather than just the basic background, which is where all the stars are from. And it's basically the exact same thing as the sparkles in the liquid. And you know, it's just a noise texture into a color ramp, into the mix shader. You got an emission node, the regular black background that plugs into the surface of the world. That's how you get your sparkles in space. Pretty similar to how I did it in the space background video I did a while back. But yeah, that's how I did this. Are you gonna answer that? Because I called it! 2 days ago, when I turned that profile picture into a Palico, I called it. I said Nerscylla was gonna be in Wilds, and guess what we just found out today? There is a lot more in the trailer that just dropped that I want to talk about, but I'll save that for tomorrow when I turn all the footage of me making this into a long-form video. For now, just know that I called it. Alright, I've been meaning to, I just wasn't sure how I wanted to arrange it until now. I've spent nearly 7 hours working on this, so I hope you enjoy. I can do that, yeah. When you were referring to, though, is actually way before my first couple of videos. I pivoted to being an art channel around Christmas of 2022, and what I'm pretty sure was my first request video I did was in February of 23. You could actually go back and look at those if you want, though I was way worse back then. That's not to say I still don't have a lot to improve on. I mean, what you just saw took all day to render, though apparently it didn't have to. See, the whole issue I've had with using the Cycles rendering engine in Blender is that it takes way too long, so I just don't like to use it. Turns out I've actually just been doing it wrong. Without getting into it too much, it turns out one of the default settings for Cycles is quite literally set to thousands of times more intensive than it needs to be by default, for some reason. I only found that out after several hours and not even being a quarter way through the render. My dad walked past, looked at the screen, and said, "Hey, that's set way too high, what are you doing?" I dropped the default setting of 4090-something to 50, it looks the exact same, and now renders several dozen times faster. Honestly, I probably could have set it to under 50. So I'm probably going to start animating more stuff in Cycles now. Just need to dial in exactly how much sample I need. I have no clue why it's set to so high by default when you don't need the tiniest fraction of that, but more you know. It's not exactly next from when you asked, but I am doing it. I've been putting this one off mostly because I'm not super confident in my ability to do humanoids. It's been a point of difficulty for me for a while, but I actually really like how this one ended up turning out. Also, I was listening to a certain campaign while I was doing it. I'm about 3 hours into the first episode of your Dragon in the Snow campaign, and honestly, I'm probably going to be binging it while working on future videos until I catch up. It's been pretty fun to listen to so far. If you'll permit me to speculate, I get the feeling that your players might actually be in some kind of magic illusion of their past adventures, maybe a version of the imprisonment spell or something. Or at least that's the vibe I'm getting with what happened when they tried to split the party, which, if I'm right, is a really interesting way to start a campaign. Certainly a bit more intriguing than the standard y'all meet in a tavern. I could be wildly off track though. Still, no spoilers, I want to see where this goes. I also really want to play D&D again, but until someone decides to start the campaign, that's probably not happening. You okayed my character last year. Come on. Let me play uno dos. I have been dying to find our glorious overlord. Please let us begin the search. Yeah, let us find the master. Shh. You do not talk. We went over this. I look more like a Dragonborn. I'm the head. I talk. I am a Dragonborn. Get back in there. Don't question it. Honestly, it's kind of funny that the character I want to play is a completely normal Dragonborn, and you're having me do a Dragonborn with a big coat, so, you know. It's kinda funny. I said shut it. My ever-growing insanity aside, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. You're right, that is pretty random, but why not? Honestly, even though I've hunted Valhazak probably a good couple hundred times, especially if we're taking Blackveil into account, I kinda just keep forgetting he exists. Which is weird, because he is a really cool monster, both in design and his ecological niche within the Rotten Vale. Actually, he feels way more connected to the environment than most Elder Dragons do. It's weird. I like Valhazak, but only when I'm actively reminded that Valhazak exists. And unless I'm thinking about him, I tend to just forget about him. I don't know why that is. I mean, maybe it's just because Valhazak is so much of a pushover compared to other Elder Dragons, at least base Valhazak is. If you fight him like I do, which is to slap on maxed out effluvium resistance and then just never touch the ground, he's really not much of a threat. Come Iceborne, we had Blackveil with his big effluvium explosion, but even then, he doesn't really stick out in my head that much. Honestly, I think it's just because he doesn't have the intimidating presence a good chunk of other Elder Dragons do. And that's probably why he occupies about the same headspace as Kirin, Kushala, and Chameleos, too. Except Chameleos is a little bit higher because he's a little bit cooler with his invisibility shtick. And you know what? Chameleos is pretty fun and quirky, so let's put him up a little bit higher than that. But even then, none of them really have that intimidating, daunting presence that other Elder Dragons do, even if they're an easy enough fight. Even if we just keep this like the rest of World's roster of Elder Dragons, most of them, barring Kirin, like we said, have this they command the room presence, even if it's in a bunch of different ways. Teostra and Lunastra have this royal vibe to them, where like they feel better than you and entitled almost. Nergigante has this savage ferocity to him, even if he is laughably easy once you learn him. Xeno'jiiva, in addition to being massive, has this otherworldly presence. And Zoro Magnaros is a literal walking mountain of fire. Even if the fight itself is easy, it feels like an accomplishment. But Valhazak to me has always felt like sick, feeble, frail, almost like I was putting him down rather than hunting down a great threat. Maybe that's why he doesn't stick out in my mind too much. I almost feel bad for hunting him. I don't know. If anyone else has hunted Valhazak, what's your guys' thoughts on him? And you know, honestly, what do you guys think is going to be the Elder Dragon situation with Wilds? Because, we got Gormagala, but he's a question mark, you know? Sure, Shagaru is an Elder Dragon, but we haven't seen a single hint of an actual confirmed Elder Dragon in Wilds. Arkveiled might become an Elder Dragon when he becomes Unchained Arkveiled, as implied by the one we get to find in the beta being Chained Arkveiled, but he might not, and we haven't heard anything about Elder Dragons as far as I know, so maybe Wilds isn't even going to have Elder Dragons, which would be crazy. Again, please share your speculations. I called it. Again. That makes 2. I called Nerscylla before she was announced to be in Wilds. Guess what? I called it that Blanganga was going to be in Wilds. It made sense. We had Congalalala. We had an ice region revealed. After I said there was going to be an ice region, which, again, obviously there was going to be, but I said might have Blanganga, and I was right! Ha-ha! Blanganga is in Wilds. Ha-ha! Knew it. Now the question remains. Am I going to be right about Kurapeko, Legiacris, and Gobule? Maybe. There's also the long shot predictions about Nibblesnarf and Glacial Ignactor showing up. I was nowhere near as sure about Blanganga as I was about Nerscylla, but I was right. Let's see if I may be right about the rest. The 2 most likely, I think, are either going to be Legiacris, because they know we love Legiacris, or Kurapeko, because again, all the interesting interactions that could have. Sweet Tarigog Mazios, let me be right about my boy Lackey. I want to fight him again. Oh, it feels good to be right. Anyway, to celebrate my second correct Wilds prediction, here is a unfortunately creepy unfortunately creepy Blanganga mask that's currently being sold for 50 zenny. I have two questions I would like to ask all of you watching. If I were to do a makeshift campaign or a campaign with another similar company, would you buy the plushie? And subsequently, what kind of plushie would you like to see me do if I were to actually do this? Right now, this is purely hypothetical. If I were to do this, I would need to do a fair amount of research, figure out the legalities, figure out how rights would work, figure out how it would work with anonymity, see what I need to do, see what whatever company I would go with if I do this needs to do, all of that. So before I even really think about going down that rabbit hole, I want to ask, would you be interested? And if I were to actually do this, what kind of plushie would you want? Heck, I could set it up to where you as the audience collectively help me design it. I could do a series of videos where I do one part of it and then the top comment picks the next part to get added or something to that effect. Or maybe I could do what I'm working on here, Grebo the dog thing. We're slowly closing in on 1,000 subscribers, so maybe I could do it to celebrate that. I don't know. But like I said, if I want to even begin to seriously think about this, I need to know. How many of you would be interested? Please tell me. I think the way it works with Makeshift is you need to have either 200 or 300 people who are willing to pre-order for them to start the limited run. And it seems like the standard price is about $30 American per plushie, but I am not 100% on that. Like I said, I'd have to actually do a significant amount of research if we're going to do this. So, should I start looking into this or not? Pause this video. Did you do it? Good. I'm testing out an illusion. When the video is paused, the moving objects should be invisible, but when the video is playing, you should be able to just barely see them. Please let me know which version of this works best. In December of 2020, I made my first short video. Now, over 2 years later, I'm remaking it.
Witness my evolution.
Oh, it's midnight. It was 8 o'clock 12 seconds ago. Damn you, insomnia! I want to challenge my audience. I know at least a few of you are artists in your own right, and I love seeing your artwork when you post it to the channel Discord. So I have spontaneously decided to do an art competition. In the channel Discord, there is now a channel called Lightsaber Art Competition. The rules are simple. Post your lightsaber or legally distinct energy sword artwork by March 3rd, and I will compile your submissions into a video with credit, of course, and let the comments vote on which they like best. This is, of course, entirely voluntary, but I want to see what you guys can do. I will accept any art medium you want. You can do it physically or digitally. You can paint it, model it in a 3D program. Heck, you could even do it as Minecraft pixel art if you want. As long as your submission is PG and not plagiarized, I will accept it. Once again, the deadline is March 3rd, and if you don't know, you can find a link to the channel Discord in the channel's description on YouTube. I hope to see you there.